What's going on, guys? Kevin here to bring you a new video today, where today I want to talk about a film that I saw for today's edition of Horror October, and it's called Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. Yep, not the original, but it was the remake, which was actually really freaking good. I wanted to see it because it looked pretty good, and it had Jeff Goldblum in it, and yeah, I had actually saw it when I went to this horror theme park, playing in the background, which I will just say, like, I find weird because, like, it's kind of like it's not really like a fast-paced horror movie, or like something you can just like really jump in on. So like it's the kind of thing you want to like, stay tuned in for like the whole entire movie. It's not like Friday the 13th where you could literally just like watch it at any random time, like in the middle of it, or just like jump in on it randomly. Like it's not that kind of movie. But like, so I don't know why they were playing it there, but I mean it's a fantastic freaking movie. Like holy shit. This movie was freaking amazing. Oh my god, I love it so much. My thing about it is, it's interesting because if you saw the video I put out yesterday, Rosemary's Baby, I said how it was boring and it wasn't scary at all and it lacked a lot of horror elements, and which made it like not good. But my thing is like, this film for a lot of it wasn't really that scary, but still it was so goddamn amazing. And I will say, I mean, there aren't like a ton of scary parts, but there definitely are some horror elements to it, like towards the end of the movie and like the middle. But for a while, it feels a lot less like horror, but I'm okay with that because it's just such a great film. I really, really, really liked it, with how it kept you like guessing with its storyline, and it kind of like kept you like kind of wondering what would happen next, as far as how the plot would advance, I guess. So basically what happened is these plants basically grow randomly and start cloning people, and then yeah, it's a crazy concept to explain. Basically start to clone people, and the only way that you can tell the clones apart from them is that they're kind of like devoid of emotion, and like basically just don't seem like they have like a personality. They're kind of just like a robot basically, which I think is like something that's like pretty hard to pick up on. And like the thing is like, usually like in movies, like what happens is like, the character gets kind of blindsided by something they didn't see coming. But with this, it's like the characters in this movie like saw through like the fact that like these characters seem different, and like kind of made like an estimate that like these people are different than they normally are, so something is wrong with them. So to me, like that's almost like taking a too big of a leap, even for the viewer, which is like crazy to think, but like just like it was such a big leap to take, the fact that they believe that yeah, these people are devoid of emotion, like they're not like the same person. Okay, like sure, you can think like if someone's like devoid of a human emotion, like you can think like, okay, something's wrong with them. Maybe they had a bad day, maybe they don't want to talk to anyone, maybe they're have mental issues, or not like, oh, they're not the same person. Like that's just like such a big jump. Like wow, like this movie like surprises me with the fact that like some characters, like the characters in this movie, actually like suspect that, like wow. And then they they eventually like figure out that like after like seeing like bodies, they figure out that they're being cloned with like replicas basically, and like they have to try to like survive from the replicas that are like basically haunting them after a while. But it's interesting also because you have a character who as well is like a kind of like a skeptic in the movie. He's played by Leonard Nimoy, think his name is Dr. Kibler, I want to say. Um, he was like he was like the opposite side of the spectrum. Like he was like a skeptic about the whole thing. He's just like, because he's a psychiatrist, like he's like, oh, there's got to be some like reasoning for this, but like that's not true. There's no way that's true. And like everyone's like mad at him because they don't believe him. You have Nancy and Jack, who are like a husband and wife, and then you have Matthew and Elizabeth. They're all like these characters who are kind of like discovering that these clones exist and they have to all do what they can to survive. So like for a while, the movie's not really that scary for a while. It's a thing. For a while, it's just like them discovering, these are the clones and this is what they do and this is how they operate. And, eventually Matthew finally starts like having to protect Elizabeth because she starts like almost dying. She almost like dies from one of the clones. And they're basically like aliens from another world who are like trying to like become human so they can like take over the world, I guess. So that's pretty wild. Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, they discover that like this cloning process is happening, and they start learning more about it. And then Jeff Goldblum is in it as well as this character Jack, who's also with them. And then you have the character of Nancy, played by Veronica Cartwright, I believe. And then yeah, like they all start yeeting and doing what they can to evade from all the clones. And like honestly, it seems like kind of inevitable that like a bad ending would happen. And like given like their circumstances, like I could have like understand it if this movie had like a bad ending, because like it's just that kind of movie. And like this movie was from 1978, so it's not that old, but like I feel like a lot of like older movies just a lot of like older horror movies just tended to have like depressing endings to their movies. Like they just weren't traditionally good. Whereas I feel like modern horror movies today like seem to have more like faith in humanity, I guess, that like something good will happen and everyone will be okay. Like take a really good example is War of the Worlds. There was a movie called War of the Worlds that was made in the 50s that didn't really have a good ending. Basically, all of humanity was dying, and then like at the end, they like pray to God, and they somehow like survive, I guess. But it was pretty depressing. And like in the new War of the Worlds, like everything is all hunky dory at the end. And like there's also a movie called The Last Man on Earth, where literally Vincent Price plays this guy who dies and says, "I am the last man on Earth," as he's getting stabbed in the heart. Like, okay, cool, good to know. Like, that's just the way movies were a lot of the times. But like, I'm kind of getting off topic here. But anyways, with that being said, they have to like, they're doing what they can to like evade from all these clones, and it's amazing how they miraculously keep surviving, given like the massive amount of people that are all clones. Because basically how it works is if you like fall asleep or show any sort of emotion, they'll detect you and just chase you and kill you, I guess, and then clone you, and they do whatever they need to do to make you one of them, which is just like crazy. But yeah, they keep running, and eventually Jeff and Jack, played by Jeff Goldblum, and Nancy, they get like separated from Matthew and Elizabeth. And then like something like kind of sad happens where like Matthew leaves Elizabeth alone, which was just a dumb idea in the first place. But like, and then she gets like killed off, which sucks. I hate the fact that happened. Why would you leave her alone? Like, really? And then like and then like what happens after that is like, God, this is so hard to explain. A nude Elizabeth appears in front of Matthew and like persuades him to try to become one of them. And like I guess like how it worked is like their consciousness was transferred over, but like it was like they weren't human anymore. Like they were still like devoid of emotion, I guess. So like Matthew is actually still alive. He tries to keep running, and like in a miraculous like intense moment, he like burns like all these like plants that were growing all these clones, and like escapes, and it's pretty intense with that, and like them running away is pretty intense too. But like this is pretty intense where he like burns down this like house where they're making these clones, and this is where it gets crazy is the ending to this movie. You know, I thought it was going to be bad. I was going to be like, okay, well, the ending is bad, but it's still an amazing movie, so I can't let that impact the rating too much. And my thing is, like, the way I want to word this is, you know, an ending to a movie cannot be good, but it can still make the movie really great. I guess is the best way to put it. So, like, this movie's ending wasn't exactly good. And it makes it an amazing movie because there's an amazing twist at the end, which I absolutely love. We're led to believe that Matthew's character survives, you know, the people chasing him and whatnot, and is okay, and like he doesn't show any emotion, but like we were kind of led to believe that like if you wanted to survive among these things, you had to not show emotion, so that way like you wouldn't get like detected or like seen, you know, and then like killed or turned into a clone or whatever. So we're like, okay, he's just blending in. But then he finds Nancy, who's actually still normal. Interestingly enough, she had like separated from the group, but she was like blending in and was actually still normal. She was like the last survivor, but she was like all excited to see Matthew because she thought he was fine, but he had actually been turned into a clone. So like that's the twist, is that like you didn't think he was a clone, but he really was, which is just like crazy. And it's one of like the scariest moments in a movie, where at the very end of the movie he lets out this like shriek that these clones let out when they like see like a real human or like see danger. It's just like a really loud shriek that he lets out at her, and with this like face like ah, like okay, Jesus Christ. And then the movie just ends like, okay, like that is freaking awesome. Even though it's like, wow, she's probably fucked and this movie isn't going to end well. But I mean, like, they didn't show her dying, Nancy. Like, she's still alive, but like it's kind of like, that sucks. But my God, this movie was so good. It's definitely one of those more like I said, like a slow burn horror movie. You know, I wouldn't consider a lot of it to be a horror movie, but either way, it's a freaking amazing movie. God damn. I'll have to see the original. Honestly, I should see the original as well, because I also saw the original War of the Worlds. This reminds me kind of that, similar to that, and also like it kind of gave me vibes of They Live as well, which is also a great movie. But yeah, and like I wish it could have worked out, but I kind of feel like the song "I Always Feel Like Somebody's Watching Me" should be in this movie, but you know, sadly that song was written after this movie came out in 1978. But I just feel like that's like the theme song for this movie. I would have loved if that was like the song in this movie. But yeah, either way, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm going to rate this movie a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, this movie was really goddamn good, I'd say. Despite like just a little like nuances here and there with like them like believing that these things are clones and the skeptic side of things, like, but you know, I guess I can't really expect that much more out of that. And like it was kind of dumb that Matthew let Elizabeth alone and let her die like that, but other than that, it's a fantastic movie. I'm really glad I saw this. But yeah, either way, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.